Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the 9C assignment. Okay, so we'll start on number 1 here. If f such that x goes to 3x plus 2, find the value of. So basically, here's what I like to think here. I like to think of this all here is the same thing as y equals 3x plus 2. Okay? So really all we're going to do is just plug in 0 for x, and away we go. So we go 3 times 0 plus 2 is 0 plus 2 gives us 2. Okay? Same thing here. 3 times negative 1 plus 2, negative 3 plus 2 gives us negative 1. And on this one here, 3 times negative 1/3 plus 2. A third of 3 is 1, and then there's the negative in there, so that's negative 1 plus 2 gives us positive 1. Okay? All right. Moving on, number 2. So, again, think of this as y equals x minus 4 over x. So, g of 1, so I'm going to do 1 minus 4 over 1. So that's 1 minus 4 gives us negative 3. And then g is negative 1, so I do negative 1 minus 4 over negative 1. So that's negative 1. And then we've got 4 over 1 is 4, and you got the double negative, so that turns into plus 4. So that turns into positive 3. And then we got negative 1/2. So I got negative 1/2 minus 4 over negative 1/2. So that's negative 1/2. And then minus a negative turns into positive. Now 4 divided by 1/2, like, I can't tell you how many people are going to put that that's 2, but it's not. 4 divided by 2 is 2, but 4 divided by 1/2 is actually 8. You want to think of how many halves does it take to make 4? And it's going to take 8 halves to make 4. Okay, so negative 1/2 plus 8 is 7.5. Okay? Let's see, let's do 3 here. Y equals 3x minus x squared plus 2. Use the table mode of your calculator to find. You can if you want. Probably a little bit more work than what you need to, so I'm just going to keep plugging this into my, just plug it in. I think it's a little bit easier, so it's a little bit faster. 3 times 0 minus 0 squared plus 2. So that's going to be 3 times 0 is 0. 0 squared is 0 plus 2 gives us 2 here, right? Negative 3 is our x there. So it's 3 times negative 3 minus negative 3 squared plus 2. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then negative 3 squared is 9. And then that's saying subtract 9. So it's negative 9 minus 9 plus 2. So that's negative 18 plus 2 is negative 16. Okay? Excuse me. Letter E, f of 3 halves. So 3 times 3 halves minus 3 halves squared plus 2. So 3 times 3 is 9, divided by 2 is, let's turn this into a decimal, 4.5. 3 squared is 9, 2 squared is 4, so that's minus 9 fourths plus 2. So that's 4.5 minus 9 fourths is 2.25 plus 2. So if you do 4.5 plus 2 is 6.5. Minus 2 is 4.5, and then minus another quarter is 4.25. Okay? All right. Moving along here. If f of x equals 7 minus 3x, find in simplest form f of a. So really I like to think of this as our little function machine. F of x equals 7 minus 3x. I now want to know what f of a is. So all my x's are turning into a's. So it's just 7 minus that x is also going to turn into an a. So that's what we get. We just get 7 minus 3a. Okay? This one here, we get 7 minus 3 times a plus 3. Okay, so we're going to want to distribute that negative 3, not just 3, but the negative 3 to both of those. So we get 7 minus 3a minus 9, right? So it's usually best to write the variables first and the constants at the end. So let's put negative 3a, and then 7 minus 9 is negative 2. Okay, this one here, 7 minus 3 times x plus 2. Distribute the negative 3 through to both of those again, right? So 7 minus 3x, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. So we get negative 3x, and we got 7 minus 6 is plus 1 there. All right. All right, so let's see, number 5 here. If f of x equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 1, find in simplest form. So we now have 2 times, wherever there's an x, now it's going to be x plus 4. So it's x plus 4, that goes in there, plus 3 times x plus 4 minus 1. Okay, so distribute, oh wait, this is x plus 4 squared. So we got to square this thing first and then multiply it by 2. So please, please, please don't do x squared plus 16. That is not what this is. We did that all throughout chapter 8. So you should hopefully remember to either FOIL this out, or I like to stack one on top of the other. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times x is 4x. X times 4 is 4x. X times x is x squared. Right, so we get this gives us x squared plus 8x plus 16, and that whole thing is got a 2 out in front of it, plus 3 times x plus 4 minus 1. Now distribute the 2 through, so it's 2x squared plus 16x plus 32, and distribute the 3 through to both of those, plus 3x plus 12 minus 1. Now we collect like terms. So we got our 2x squared, and then we got 16x and 3x give us 19x. 32 plus 12 is 44, minus 1 is 43. All right. All right, C here. We've got f of negative x. So it's 2 times negative x squared plus 3 times negative x minus 1. So negative x squared is simply just x squared, so that's going to be 2x squared minus 3x, because 3 times negative x is negative 3x minus 1. And really that's all you can do. Can't simplify that any further. Okay? So next one is f of x squared minus 1. So this is E. We've got 2 times x squared minus 1, that's replacing this x, squared plus 3 times x squared minus 1 minus 1. So we're going to have to, again, we have to multiply this one out. X squared minus 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 1 times x squared is x squared. Oh, sorry, negative x squared, because it's negative 1. X squared times negative 1 is another negative x squared. And x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. So this gives us x to the 4th minus 2x squareds plus 1. And then remember to bring that 2 down out in front there too. So 2 times all of that plus 3 times x squared minus 1 minus 1. So distribute the 2 through and the 3 through. Distributing the 2 through gives us 2x to the 4th minus 4x squared plus 2. Distributing the 3 through gives us plus 3x squared minus 3 minus 1. Okay, take the highest powers first. So there's our 2x to the 4th. And then I'm going to take the x squareds next. So 3x squared minus 4x squared is negative x squared. And then you got positive, that's a positive 2 minus 3 minus 1 is negative 2. Okay. Okay. Let's look at the next problem here, which is number 6. Here's our function. Evaluate these 3 things here. So, oops. Let's do that. So we've got g of 2. So now wherever we see x's, they're going to become 2's. So a part I is 2 times 2 plus 3 all over 2 minus 4. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 3 over negative 2 is 7 over negative 2, which is just negative 7 halves for a part 1. A part 2 is going to be 2 times 0 plus 3 over, over 0 minus 4, right? So that turns into 0, that turns into 0, so you just have 3 over negative 4, which is negative 3/4. Okay? Okay, let's do part 3, negative 1/2. So we have 2 times negative 1/2 plus 3 over negative 1/2, minus 4. So 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1 plus 3, and then that's negative 1/2, and negative 4 is negative 4.5. So that's 2 over negative 4.5. And that's not nice at all. Let's do this. Let's multiply the top and the bottom by 2 so we can get rid of that fraction in a fraction. Okay, so multiply that by 2 and multiply this by 2, so we get 4 over 2 times 4 is 8 plus 2 times 1/2 is another 1, so that's over 9, and it's a positive over negative, so it's negative 4/9. Okay. B, find a value of x where g of x does not exist. So what they're saying is find some x where this function doesn't work. Okay, so there's really only a couple rules that we have. One rule is you can't take the square root of a negative number, and then our other rule is you can't divide by 0. So there's no roots in here, but look, there is division. So I want to know what's going to make x minus 4 equal 0. Okay, so I'm just going to add 4, and I know that if x equals 4, if I plug in 4 there, 4 minus 4 gives us 0, and we're taking some number and dividing by 0, which we know we can't do. So find a value where g of x does not exist. When x equals 4, it doesn't exist. Okay, C, find g of x plus 2 in simplest form. So 2 times, now we've got, instead of x, we have x plus 2 plus 3 all over x plus 2 minus 4. So distribute that through, and we get 2x plus 4 plus 3 all over x plus 2 minus 4. So when we simplify this, that's 2x plus 7 over x 2 minus 4 is minus 2. And that should take care of that one there. Okay, and then D, find x if g of x equals negative 3. Now this is different than all the rest of these up here that we've been doing so far. All these are saying take g of 2. This is saying g of x equals 3. And if you remember, this g of x here, this is in the y equals spot, right? So now they're saying y equals negative 3. So this negative 3 for this problem is going to go over here. So what we're going to do is put negative 3 equals 2x plus 3 over x minus 4. And now we're going to figure out what x is. Okay? So if we've got a fraction here and we've got a number over here, I'm just going to put that over 1, and then I'm going to do cross products. Right? Okay, so I know that negative 3 times x minus 4 should equal 1 times 2x plus 3. So let's see, that equals negative 3x, and negative 3 times negative 4 is plus 12, equals 2x plus 3. I'm going to move my x's to the right side so that I end up getting positive x's, so that's 5x, and now I want to get rid of my 3 over here, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and that gives me 9. So I divide by 5, so I know that x has to equal 9/5 for part D. Okay? All right. Moving along. Number 9, given that f of x equals x squared, find in simplest form. Okay, so now wherever we see f of x, we're just going to put x squared in. So that's going to be x squared there, right? So let's do this. A equals f of x is x squared minus, now the x is now turned into a 3. So if it's f of 3, I know it's going to be 3 squared. So that's going to be minus 3 squared, right? All over, and then we just leave the x minus 3. Okay, so we get not equals, but let's see. So we've got x squared minus 9 over x minus 3. Okay, now look, this here can factor up there. That's 2 perfect squares. So we're going to rewrite x squared minus 9 as x times x gives us x squared, and what times what gives us 9? 3 and 3. One's positive, one's negative, and we put that over our x minus 3, and our x minus 3's reduce down to 1, and we're just left with x plus 3 for A. Okay? B, f of 2 plus h. So now everything that's in front of the f function is now going to be squared. So that's going to be 2 plus h squared minus f of 2 squared is 4, or you know what, we can simplify that later, so minus 2 squared all over h. So 2 plus h squared, we're going to want to multiply that out to see what that equals. 2 plus h, 2 plus h. H times h is h squared. H times 2 is 2h. 2 times h is 2h, and 2 times 2 is 4. So that gives us 4 plus 4h plus h squared. Right? So that's what that equals. I'm just going to rewrite that as h squared plus 4h plus 4, and then we've got minus 4 here all over h. Okay, so the 4 and the negative 4 reduce down to 0 there. So we have h squared minus 4h all over h. So if you think about this up here, you can factor an h out of both of those. So this here turns into h. If you divide h squared by h, you're left with an h. If you divide negative 4h by h, you're left with minus 4 all over h. And then those h's cancel out, so we're just left with h minus 4. Okay? That's a little bit of a tricky one, but that's not, you can do that. You got it. Number 10. If the value of a photocopier t years after purchase is given by V of t equals 9650 minus 860 dollars, find V of 4 and state what V of 4 means. Okay, so A. So they're saying V of t equals this, V of 4. So wherever we see a t, it now turns into 4. So now we're going to say V of 4 equals 9650 minus 860. Instead of t, we're now putting in 4. Okay, oops. So V of 4 equals 9650 minus whatever 860 times 4 is. $34.40. So V of 4 equals, let's see, we got 9650 minus 34.40. We get 62.10. Okay, so we figured out what V of 4 is, and then it also says state what V4 means. So the value of the photocopier t years after purchase is given by this here. So that means after 4 years, the copier is worth $6,210. Okay. B. Let's see. Let's find. It says find T when V of T equals 5780. So now this V of T, this 5780 here, is going in and replacing this part over here. So it's going to be 5780 equals 9650 minus 860 T. So now we got to solve for T. So let's subtract 9650. All right, and we get negative 860 T equals, let's see, we got 5780 minus 9650, and we get negative 3870. Right, and we're going to want to divide by negative 860 to get T by itself. So we get T equals, we're going to divide that by negative 860. We get 4.5. Okay, and explain what this represents. So T equals 4.5. So it will take 4.5 years for the copier to be worth 5780. Okay, and then C, find the original purchase price of the photocopier. So C, the original purchase price is when T equals 0. So it's V of 0 equals 9650 minus 860 T. Okay, but T is now 0. So 0 times negative 860 is 0. So there's our value, 9650. So it was originally worth $9,650. Okay. All right, last problem, number 12. Find f of x equals ax plus b, a linear function in which f of 2 equals 1 and f of negative 3 equals 11. Now this problem here throws people off a lot. Here's the way I like to think of this. This is like our function machine here, right? So this is saying if I plug in 2 into the machine, out comes 1. So 2 is our input and 1 is our output. So that would mean that this is our, like 2 is our x and 1 is our y. So really this is a coordinate. This is 2 goes in and out comes 1. So x and y. Same thing here. So the coordinate for that one there is going to be negative 3 goes in for the x, and out of that comes 11. So you have 2 points. Okay, so now all we're doing is just trying to find the equation of the line that includes those 2 points. Right, so let's go with 11 minus 1 over negative 3 minus 2 gives us 10 over negative 5, which is negative 2 is our slope, right? And then now we can choose either one of these points to plug into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus, I'm going to choose this one because it's a little bit nicer looking, x1, y1. So it's y minus 1 equals m, which is negative 2, times x minus 2. Y minus 1 equals negative 2x plus 4. Add 1 to both sides, and we get y equals negative 2x plus 5. Okay. All right. That is the end of the 9C assignment. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask in class. Thank you.